Okay, so in this video, I want to get into some detail about always leaving that door open. If you're coming out of an abusive relationship, you've been taught in the abusive relationship that you are to shut up and you are to perform. You are to do whatever it is you're supposed to do to keep the peace, and you're not supposed to call out abuse. You are basically to sit there, shut up, and take it. And when you get out of the relationship and you heal and you come out of that dysfunctional system, when you start saying, if you start saying, this was abuse, you put your hands on me and you should have never done that. You sided with my abuser and you shouldn't have done that. You are going to get so much backlash from that. You are going to be told all kinds of things. You're not invited to this. You're not welcome to that. They're not going to give you reasons. They're just going to push back on you. What I don't want you to do is sit there and take it. What I don't want you to do is not call out the abuse just because you're afraid that you're going to be rejected. Guess what? You've been rejected anyway. Guess what? That family system has already labeled you whatever they have anyway. So that, I really hate it. The old, or some of the people in this group that we're in talking about narcissism, and some of the books, not all, but a lot of them talk about, just be very patient and keep the door open with people, AKA your kids or whatever, and just wait and see. No. That's still you being a doormat. Don't you see? You were already a doormat in that relationship. Didn't you already do that with the narcissist? Didn't you already sit around and go, well, maybe he or she will get it. Let me try twisting myself into a pretzel again to see whether or not they're going to understand what I'm saying. Let me try for the 100th time to try to explain it. Let me forgive them for the 1,000th time. It didn't work. And it's not going to work now. The difference now, though, is that you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. I get a lot of clients that say, but this person is the only, I don't have anyone else. This person is somebody that, I want in my life. This person I keep forgiving and I can't understand why they keep doing this to me. And most of the time it's a child or a sister or a brother. You know what? When Oprah said, whether you like her or not, saying still good, when people show you who they are, believe them. How many times do they have to show you who they are? How many times do they have to show you who they align with? And, sitting quietly, swallowing abuse, and keeping the door open, that has only ever kept you trapped in that abuse cycle. Look, I want to talk about this also for a second. The conditioning you've been given, especially by the narcissist, is forgive, definitely forget, minimize. You need to be the bigger person. And what did you get? You were betrayed. You were given more pain and more erasure with your feelings. You were never validated. What I would like to do is start a whole new understanding with narcissism, and that's call out the abuse. Call it out. I don't care. I'm not saying don't broadcast it on social media, because those assholes will go, do whatever to shut you down. Don't do that. Don't mention their name. Don't do anything like that. But when I say call out the abuse, I mean say, look, this happened. And when they try to gaslight you and say, oh, it didn't go down like that, you just say, you hold firm and say, yes, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Abusers keep their grip by hoping that you're going to be quiet. And I don't want you to be quiet anymore. That's one of the worst things I think that happen to us as victims of this kind of abuse, is that we're expected to stay quiet. And we're expected to stay quiet because when we were in the relationship, we didn't feel like anybody was going to believe us about what was going on. I mean, hell, most of the time we didn't even understand what was going on. And then it took a long time after you got out of it to really, work through the complex trauma and the abuse that you went through. And then you start seeing what happened. And at that point, I want you to talk about it. And I want you to talk about it just like I talk about it. Don't name names. You can say, my ex, whatever, my child, but hey, you can write a book. You can put names in that. It's your biography. You can do whatever you want. But I will say this. If you continue to be quiet and you continue to just keep that door open and send the birthday wishes and send the gifts and you don't get the responses, you're just a doormat. You're gonna continue to be a doormat. And that's never gonna change. And I'm not saying it's gonna change because you put up a boundary. Remember, when you put up a boundary, the boundary is not to make them do whatever. It's not to teach them a damn thing. That's bullshit. Don't listen to that. That boundary is for you. That says, you know what? I refuse to be treated that way regardless of how they act. Whether they come back or not, or whether they understand what you said, which they're not going to. Whatever. It has nothing to do with them. It has to do with you. Your boundary is for you to keep you safe. It has nothing to do with the person on the other side. I think a lot of people, especially younger people, think the blocking and unblocking and boundary, that they're doing that like training a dog. No. You're not training a dog. You don't train another human being. Now, you train people how to teach you. No, you don't. People either are going to treat you a certain way because that's their own value system, or they're not. You or I are not going to go treat somebody badly, regardless of what they teach us or train us. We're going to treat people the way we want to be treated. We're going to treat people with our innate value system. So when you lay down boundaries, it's for you. When you say, look, I'm not going to do that. That's not what I want to do. I want to be treated this way. And if they don't want to treat you that way, they don't want to treat you that way. But it's not you trying to make them, they're not, it doesn't work like that. And I also want to say, it's really important for your healing to name the behavior. So they say, putting an objective label on behavior. In psychology, this is called naming the act. It's one of the few things that cuts through denial over time. People can argue with the word abuse in the moment, but their nervous system will still recognize the act as it's being described. Look, you have to name what happened to you. You have to talk about it. You can journal. But it's really important that you give that a voice. And we need people to hear us. You need to be heard. And it's really important that you're heard and validated by someone, by anyone. But the problem is, it's hard to find that validation. It's hard to find someone that's going to listen to you and validate you. Even therapists, yeah, okay, well, they don't say, oh my gosh. They don't validate you and say, that shouldn't have happened. That was wrong. I'm sorry that happened to you. It's really important that you get that out. It's really important that you feel heard and seen, because you were never heard and seen in these relationships. But if you continue to just be the scapegoat, do the exact same thing some of you have been doing for years. I hear some clients say, oh, I always send a birthday card and I always send a text and my door's always open. And stop. Don't send the text. Don't send the birthday. Don't send the Christmas. Don't send anything. Don't. Relationships have to be both ways. And if you keep giving and giving and giving and giving and the other person's not reciprocating, why are you doing that? That doesn't feel good. So why are you doing it? Because you think that you're being the bigger person? No, you're being a doormat. Because you think that that's somehow going to get them to come back around versus protecting yourself and saying, you can't treat me like that. No. Don't you have a right to say how you want to be treated? Don't you have a right to have a reciprocal relationship with no matter who it is? Yeah, you do. So why do you continue to give and give and give when someone isn't responding to you? Stop. Don't do that anymore. It will actually heal your nervous system to block that person, stop engaging with that person. Will it be painful for a little while? Yes, because it's closure. And finality often is painful. But it also stops you from being reactive and looking and seeing, oh my God, are they ever gonna come back? What can I do? Am I ever gonna hear from? When you say, okay, I'm going to close that chapter and I'm going to focus over here on people who are actually going to reciprocate and appreciate me and validate me, that speaks volumes about your growth. I really implore you to name the abuse, call it out loud, call it what it is, whether they want to admit it or not, and find people to validate you and listen to you and hear you, because that's super important, because you haven't been heard. For some of us, it was decades, and still, you know, the people that we want to hear us are never going to hear you. So let them go. Go to people who understand. Go to people who will validate you. Go to people who will lift you up and not tear you down. And if you're not getting reciprocal communication from somebody that you keep reaching out to, stop. How is that good for your self-respect? How is that good for your time and energy? Don't do that anymore, please. Okay? So I just want to say this. I haven't been on YouTube in a little while. Most of my videos are on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, but I'm excited about starting up this channel again. And I would really like to hear from you guys on what you might want to hear from me in long form videos, what you'd like for me to talk about. I'm happy to talk about anything. Otherwise, I'm just going to put the content out there that I think that you want to hear, that I definitely wanted to hear when I was going through this crap and still going through it. Look, it's a lifelong journey. I learn something new every day. Truly, I have a new perspective or understanding or aha moment literally every single day. It's definitely a lifelong journey, and I'm really glad you're here.